Good evening, everybody. It's Marcia. Man, I haven't done a live with you guys in a while. I'm going to give everybody a chance to jump on. I know I'm a few minutes tardy. My daughters stayed up much later tonight. You know, it's Fun Friday, and I'm trying to get a lot more quality time in with them since I've cut back on a lot of my crafting. So I'm just trying to get the video up here. Okay, I've got it. That way I can follow any comments, if there are any. Okay, I'm trying to save it to all my places. So I hope you guys have had a good week. I see some people are finally jumping on. Hi, Miss Tina. Okay, oops, I pushed the wrong button. You know, Facebook has made it rather interesting as of late when it comes to videos. I know I'm not the only person that's experienced that. Hi, Gwen. I'm trying to open it up here. It's not cooperating. Why are you doing this? Click to expand. Here we go, because I've got everything muted. All right. Hello, Liz. Hi, Miss Tina. Okay, so we've got a few of you on. So as you saw in the picture ahead of time, I like to try to share, you know, a supply list, if you will, in photo form. And in my description, the night before, this week has just been very, very busy with work and life. So, but I wanted to record the color along because I know a lot of people it's helpful. So, yay, I'm glad, Tina, you love the horror set. And I thought, since when Audra asks us if any of us want to do a live, I was like, I looked at the calendar and I was seeing some of the dates other people were picking. And I saw, oh, Friday the 13th, this is perfect. A perfect time to bring out some of these horror sets that we typically only use, you know, for Halloween. So I grabbed my sets and started looking through things, and Audra said any of these sets were fine. So as I showed in my supply photo, we are using the horror stamp set. It's a really, really big one. And I have all these supplies linked on my blog. It's in the description for this video, as well as in my supply post. And then I will post another blog update with the finished products finished projects that we will complete tonight. So I'll have those on there as well. So, and all of this will be available for replay later. Okay, and I might as well throw out the discount code for those of you that are on now. It's 2020, and my name Marcia, M-A-R-C-I-A, and that will save you 20% on the products I use tonight for my projects. So again, we're using the horror. If you saw, I went ahead and pre-colored the mummy and the vampire. I wanted to choose characters that were more, you know, common, not so pop culture-y. I figured more people could relate to these characters. I also have the sentiment strip dies. I like to pre-cut out a bunch of all of the sizes, so I have them ready to use for sentiments whenever I need them. So that is what I have done. And I usually will take the papers and lay the stamp set over them and go, which one seems about right? So usually there's one in there that will work. We're also going to be using the newly released Bare Trees dies. These came out last month. And we're going to use the Graveyard Scene die. What else are we using? The Lightning Stencil, which I thought was pretty cool for this. We're just going to lightly ink it in the background. And I think that's about it. I am using the new liquid glue. Oh my gosh, this stuff is really amazing, guys. It's the Monster Glue tube. It's a different adhesive than was in the little tube. This is really great. I really like it. I actually used it on the newspaper on this card that I started here, and I had no warping. You know, you expect with thinner paper you're going to see more of that, but it worked beautifully. So very impressed with this glue. We're going to use some inks. Of course, use whatever you've got. And I guess we might as well just get started. So I went ahead and pre-started one card with a bonus feature, and then we're going to recreate the card without this bonus feature. So I'll have this linked on my blog with the completed projects, but I'm using one of the one lights from Pear Blossom Press. I just recently got these and I've been eyeballing them for a while. And you've probably noticed that I've been making more light cards, light up cards. There's just something so fun about them. They're magical. So anyways, I wanted to play with the one light. You can see how bright that is. So I went ahead and created some layers, and I'll explain how I do some of that. Those of you who have seen my projects, I love to use newspaper, vintage book pages, incorporate a lot of that into my projects. I think it adds a lot of fun interest. It's a fun way to upcycle things that you might already have lying around. So yay, I'm glad people are excited. Yay, Gwen. Hi, Tanya. It's so good to hear from you. She's, swimming past her yard, I guess, down under, getting lots of rain, but she has a beautiful garden. So kudos to your green thumb. So I'm not going to talk too much about building a light circuit because the one light makes it easy. You just pop the battery in it and let's go. So that's why I figured this would be a good one to show here. So as you see, I took some newspaper and I cut the graveyard die from it. But one thing to note, when you're gonna cut newspaper, and I learned this, the hard way, I guess, live and learn. The first time I cut a die with newspaper, the ink from the newspaper imprints itself onto the die and onto my cutting plate. And I noticed that when I went to use the die again, some of that ink rubbed off from both surfaces. So I said, I can't do that again. That's not going to work. So I started layering scrap copy paper surrounding the newspaper. So that's what I did here, just to show you. So I cut my newspaper, but I have a piece of scrap printer paper, printer weight paper on either side. Now the cool thing about it, because the ink, adheres to things like that, the nature of newspaper ink, it gets all over your hands. Running it through the die cutting machine, this is the negative of this, or not the negative. This is the reverse that was smashed against it. And I really love, I don't know if you can see that some of the text was kind of smushed onto this printer paper here on this top layer. And I was like, oh man, I think that looks super cool. So, hi Flower, yes. Layer scrap paper when you're using newspaper, but please use newspaper. It's so much fun. So I loved that happened, and I will often use these, what would otherwise be trash papers. So I wanted to save that. I thought it looked really cool there, but I also wanted to kind of ink the foreground of the grass. So I took one of the extra scraps and I cut the tombstones and grass layers off, and then trace that on another piece of paper, and then use the other side so that I could kind of create a template that I could set over and then ink. So we will do that on the other card, I think, but keep in mind I'm using printer paper, so it doesn't hold its shape as well. You have to be a little more careful while you're inking it. But I still think it worked. I wanted to use green. I like the pop of color there. And then I just threw some black over the top. All right. And then, so I staggered my newspaper gravestone background, put this one slightly in front of it. I said, okay, that looks fun. Before I glued that down, I started with the back panel. So let's build our second card, and then we'll just kind of work on the two tandem if that's not too confusing. So I took the lightning stencil. Any type of ink that you find can hold its weight on black cardstock. You can also build this up on white and then blend in. It's just however it works for you. I love inking on black. That way I don't have to super saturate to get that darker color. It's already there. And oxide inks, that's why I love them, because they lay on top of the paper a little bit better. So squeezed lemonade in my brush. There's really no specific, I went kind of at an angle and just threw some down. I do not want to ink it in its entirety. See, some of this is darker. I'm gonna shift it over here and then hit it over here a little bit. And that's all I really wanna kind of do. I like that it's not stenciled, with a nice even ink layer all the way across. Okay, so I'm just gonna set this aside, but keep the brush. I don't know that I'll add any more ink, but we're gonna add this kind of moonshine that we did here. And I just took my brush and, swirled it in a circle up there. So for Mr. Bloodsucker over here. Maybe we'll balance this card on the other side. So we'll have him standing here with the bear tree here on this side. So we'll add the moonshine, if you will, right here. I'm gonna throw this stencil off to the side. I'm going to, I think the last one I took this tumbled glass. And right here it works because I don't have as much of the lightning bolts there. So I just took it and literally did this. I am not the crafter that follows all the exact rules that everybody says you should do. This is my method. It's best to not misrepresent myself, right? Okay, so you see I just create a nice glow, my moon glow. You could die cut a circle, use a circle punch or, you know, anything. Put it over here to create a cleaner line around it, but I felt like this worked, especially since we're gonna have tree elements and stuff covering some of the edge there. And then I'm gonna take this yellow to kind of lighten it just in the center a bit. Maybe I will take, you could use white as well. I'm gonna saturate that well, so maybe I will just kind of go more in that center. And that's all I did for my, you know, glowing moon. I considered taking a torn piece of paper. You can do that. Go in here with some other ink. You could use gray or black to create, you know, smoky clouds. But I decided just to kind of keep it simple. We've got enough other elements going on here. Well, you're right, Elisa. It does work for me, and that's right. Everybody's got a method that works for them. So this is just my method. All right, so that's how I created the base here. Same process. So I showed you how I die cut the newspaper with the graveyard scene die. So we'll peel this off. I'll see if I hadn't used scrap paper here, you can see how cool that looks. You could always cut those off, ink this one of these whole ones and then cut these off and glue them on, but you don't have to be that fussy. Maybe we'll use this one. And we might be able to, yeah, we can flip this side since the newspaper works okay on both sides. So that's what we have here. I'm just gonna trim it on the edges to free it from the excess paper, and we'll clean up the edges later. So I'll do the same for the newspaper. I'm just gonna rip sideways. And we're gonna trim off the excess, all my garbage piles. So we'll put this one here like this. We'll go on the front like this. You know what? I did it the reverse here. I'll do this one the opposite of that. So that's how we'll do this side. We'll put that printed white on in the back, and then we'll put the newspaper in the front. And I don't think I'm gonna ink this one to give it some variety, so not everything looks exactly the same. So our character will go on the opposite side than the light up card. So Mr. Bitey Pants will go somewhere over here. And I don't know who had what tree. I don't know that it really makes a difference. We'll put this tree, let's see, in front, maybe behind that first layer. I think that's better. Somewhat partially covering the moon. And then I pre-stamped my sentiments. I'm using Your Scream for Mummy and Your Fantastic for Bitey Pants. And I just stamped that in, which one was it? Candied Apple Distress Oxide. I wanted to play off the red here because I thought that would be fun. And then we can figure out placement, whether we stick it here. We might break up some of the newspaper here at the bottom. So that's all I'm gonna do is then just assemble from here. I know it might seem like a simple card layout design, but I think it's got a lot of fun elements and we've added a lot of fun interest. So I don't feel bad about it at all. Okay, so let's glue all these things together then. Oh, see, here's the negative. And you know what I was thinking? If your brains do this too, I was like, man, this could be kind of cool. It looks like almost like a Midwestern desert if you clip some of these things off, you know, like in the background. Can anybody else see that too? You know, The little, especially if you did it in a clay kind of color, that reddish color, I think that could be fun. Use all sides of your die cuts. All right, so let's assemble, let's go ahead and assemble our scrap paper, the light up one. So as you see, because I'm adding the light behind, you either need double thick foam tape or a double layer of foam tape. I had a friend that very kindly sent me some of the black foam tape, especially since my base is black. So I did a double layer on either end because I knew it would fit. I did a double layer here because, well, it was easier than me trying to guesstimate where I would bump into this, and then a double layer here. And I figured that would give it enough stability on there. And I figured out where this scary dude was gonna go. And I think we hit, depending on placement, yeah, we're gonna kind of hit his foot to get him to turn on. So I'm gonna have it glow behind his head. So I know it's kind of hard. Maybe if I put my hand here to block some of the light, you'll get to see more of the glow. And we'll be able to see. So I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of cool. Okay, and then the tree, I'm thinking will get tucked somewhere under here behind this front layer, somewhat over the moon glow. So let's get this in here. I'm going to have to trim the tree off a little bit. I've got quite a garbage pile over here. I'm gonna peel off all of my release paper for my foam adhesive. Try to keep myself somewhat organized. Oh, this whole counter area is a mess. It's my fault, it's my fault. Okay, this tree is gonna go somewhere right here so it can stick to that foam right there. I'm even gonna let it floppy around. That doesn't hurt my feelings. We can always tuck a little bit of glue under there if it bothers you. Doesn't bother me. I am gonna put my scrap of paper behind here because it's hard to see black on black. So I can line up the edge here. So now I'm just gonna line up, hopefully line up without putting my head in the way, the base of this, woo! Up in the corners, well enough. There we go. Now we know my switch is right here. I actually like that the tree kind of wiggles. Again, you know, adhere that down more if that hurts your feelings. Now I'm just gonna make sure I get this kind of placed where I want it. That's about where I wanted it. His hands and everything seems to cover up where the one light is. And because there's a lot of dimension going on here already, and since we're gonna have to push here, I'll have to give some indicator. Maybe I'll draw little glow lines or something around his foot with a pen, or that can just be the surprise. In the inside of the card, I might say, you know, push his foot. So we're gonna adhere him down, and I'm going to use the new adhesive. Just, ooh, my goodness. Don't squeeze as hard as I did. Let me see if I can suck some more of that up. I might have to just wipe it off with my hands. Yep, I'll use my finger. Was not expecting it to come out so fast, obviously. Let's see, it's nice and clear. So again, it was somewhere in here. It grabs real fast. Again, I really like it. Don't over squeeze like I just did. Okay, so that's where he's gonna go. Beep, beep. Okay, see that? We've got some movement with the tree, which is kind of fun. And now for sentiment placement. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Janet. Thanks. Oh, good, Gwen. I'm glad you guys think that he's cute. He is cute. He's not too scary. I've got my card bases ready to roll, so we can go ahead and adhere this down to the card base, and then we'll place our sentiment. Yeah, some of those glue tubes, I'm so used to I have one that is about empty, and man, I have to squeeze that thing like the dickens to get it to come out, so that's why I did that on this one. I'm used to having to do that. Wipe it off. You don't with this one. Well, this one's brand new. So I'm just gonna flip that around, place it on the front. I trimmed the black panel to 4 1/8 by, what is that, 5 3/8. I cut 1/8 of an inch off of the, like a typical, you know, A2 sized card front. So it's just a slim little tiny border. And again, you could use a heavier weight paper here. I just happened to use the scrap and then I liked it, so I wanted to use it. I could reinforce it with another piece of paper underneath, but it's fine. So now, let's see, standing above it, because you can kind of see the lightning bolts up above his head. I kind of like the idea of tucking it back here. What do you guys think? Oh, good, Janet. I'm glad you like the background. What do you think about sentiment kind of up here, overshadowing that? Then you can kind of see the bare branches above it. If you guys are cool with that, I will sticky that down. I don't hear any votes yet. Let me get my foam tape. Let me see if this will fit. That's a tight squeeze on that one. So I'll cut it in half just to make sure it won't poke peeky through. You think I should put it by his feet? Janet thinks look like by his feet. You think I should put it like down here somewhere? Is that what you're thinking? Beep, beep. Not to cover up the sky. Versus up here. Any other votes? If I'm understanding what Janet is saying right. Yes, on the bottom. All right. We can do it. If you can hear my cat, I've got a box in here and she's deciding that she's going to homey it up for herself. If you can hear her scratching in it. Oh, like, well, if I put it where I pushed for the light, that's not gonna work. So I'll have to set it over to the side because you have to push on his foot. And I don't want to have it hang way off the card. That, to me, that isn't, doesn't balance the card well for me. Feet, you like the grass? Oh, good. I'm glad you guys like that. It's actually newspaper. I use newspaper for the background. So yeah, I don't want to cover his foot up or put it too close here again because the switch is literally under his right foot, right there. So I'm just gonna stick it right here, kind of in the grass. That's too even with his feet. I don't know how well I can line that up. We're gonna go with right here. Okay, so that's this finished card. Again, I like the movement of the tree, how it casts the shadow. I think that's really fun. And then you can see his little face glow. Beep. Ooh. You meant, let's see, Gwen says, sorry, I meant down in the grass. No, it's okay. Good, I'm glad you guys are happy with that. Yeah, I understand. Typically I try to put something right there, but this just didn't work with the placement. And I didn't want to put him off to the side here so that I could put something because he's obviously, he'd just be falling off the card. So he's got to be able to walk across. So I think that's super fun. Again, I know it's kind of, let me grab that scrap piece of paper here and I can try to block the light above so you guys can see a better, there you go, that's better. Isn't that fun? Okay, so now let's build this other card. So you don't have to do lights. Lights can be scary for some people. At least this is an easier light. So now we're just gonna adhere this stuff down. I'm not gonna add a bunch of dimension because again, this paper is really fine. You could cut, use a heavier weight cardstock and then glue it behind it, but we're just gonna make this one a flatter card. Okay, so let's take this glue and Marcia, don't squeeze too much. And I'm just gonna, glue this down. I'm not gonna glue around the edge too close because I don't really know where that is, where I'm gonna have to cut it off yet. So we're just gonna pop this somewhere on here. Make sure, because I can't see where the bottom of that is, so I don't wanna cut off too many of the gravestones. I think that will work. Man, that glue, I squeegeed it out a little bit. Okay, I didn't bring my other scissors, so I'll go ahead and trim this off the bottom a little bit. Not the black base, mind you. And then I'll have a clearer idea of where my bottom is. We're gonna cover that up, the spot you can see. Okay, so we'll just layer this where we think this needs to go and glue that down. Oh boy. Again, you know, newspaper is much thinner, and then I'm gonna go on the bottom and on the sides of here because I can see where that is on this one. Oh gosh, don't go up like I just did there. Okay, now we're gonna adhere this newspaper layer here. Oh good, I can see through it. Get an idea of where that's gonna go. Slide that one up a little bit. Okay, now we can trim that off. Okay, let's see. Is the lightning stencil also a Kindred Stamps product? Yes. Yes, it sure is. It's linked on my blog. That blog link is up above. I will also have all of these projects posted on my blog sometime this weekend, if not tomorrow, by Sunday. And I'll have all the supply links there as well. But yes, and again, for those of you that joined a few minutes after the start, my discount code for the live is 2020, and then my name, Marcia, no spaces, M-A-R-C-I-A. Okay. So yes, the lightning stencil is a Kindred Stamps product. Okay, so there we go. That's our background here. Oh, you see, I forgot to tuck my tree in, so our tree's gonna have to go on the front of this one, which works, because I think we'll do this here and that might break that up, or maybe I'll chop the tree off. I don't like it in front. Me being too critical, I think. Whoa. Like, I don't think the tree should be lower than his feet. Okay, and let's see. Amy, thank you. You love the graveyard. Yeah, the graveyard is a really fun one. Liz Hahn Miller is asking, where do we get the one light? They are from Pear Blossom Press. I will have those linked on my blog as well when these are up. But yes, Pear Blossom Press. Amanda Stevens. Okay, the newspaper is so fun. I love using book pages. So do I, Janet. I do too. Okay, well, that's how we're going to do this one. And again, because I want that shadow movement, I'm just going to adhere at the bottom of the tree, because I thought that was pretty fun. Maybe I'll move it. No, it's got to be more this way. So we'll add that there. We'll throw this guy here, and then Mr. Vampire Pants up in that area. So all I'm going to do is cut some foam adhesive for these, and then we're about done. That wasn't very painful, I hope. You're welcome, Liz. You are welcome. Yes, the one light is really cool. Like I said, I've been wanting to play with them, so I was very happy when I got them. Oh, that's going to be a little bit too long. Yeah, you don't have to then worry about trying to hide wires or anything. It's just kind of a glue down and push kind of thing. Oh, thank you, Heidi. I'm glad you love these cards. And I hope it wasn't, how long have I been going on? I hope it hasn't been too lengthy. No, we're about 30 minutes. This wasn't so bad. And that's why I wanted to record the coloring ahead of time, because, man, I know what it's like. I'm just bringing this to the edge of the counter so I can line it up for myself a little better. you know, I've got a full-time job and kids. I know it's not easy to sit here for lengthy periods of time. So if doing that ahead, I know you guys appreciated that the last time. So I wanted to make a concerted effort to be able to do that again for you guys. Oh, thank you, Tina. I'm glad you love them. Oh, Leanne, thank you. I'm glad this is fun. I know all of us have such different design styles on the design team, the creative team. I think that's what makes us work so well together, because we bring such different inspiration and ideas to the sets. You know, some of us will get the same set and our projects will just be so different. Well, see, my newspaper is a little slanted. That's okay. Because I turned it a little bit. Okay, now I'm just going to glue this base down, or this panel to my base, rather. And that is it, guys. Let me put this on here. Yeah, I didn't tell Audra I was going to use her fancy new glue. I'm not sure if that would have been eligible for the discount either, to be honest. But the discount eligible ones are the stamp set, the Horror, the Bare Trees dies, which is fun because that's a new release from last month, the Graveyard Scene die, and the Sentiment strip dies, if you don't have those yet. So there you go, guys. We've got 2 cards, very similar styles. One that lights up, beep, beep, one that doesn't. And yeah, so I hope you guys had fun. Oh, something popped up here. Yeah, thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks, Janet. It's my pleasure to share with you guys. And yeah, so I hope you guys will find some new inspiration, things to try. I hope I see more newspaper and book pages, because that's a lot of fun, and everybody's got one. And you want to talk about the cheapest pattern paper you can find? You can go to a thrift store and get a big giant, you know, encyclopedia book for like $1. So that's a whole lot of pattern paper that will last your entire card making career. So thanks, everybody. Elise, I'm so glad you like them. Gwen, thank you. Thanks, Patsy and Nikki. Yeah, so anyways, again, I'll have the blog link up sometime this weekend with pictures of these cards. I'll have links to the One Light, and you can check out all of Amanda's other amazing light up stuff. But anyways, you guys take care. Have a happy Friday the 13th, and I can't wait to see you guys for release in a couple weeks. So you guys take care. Bye.